You guys were expecting me, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Mike, before we start, I just want to mention real quick that
You missed me?
yeah, later today we're going to be presenting our Good Guy Award, which goes to the player who exhibits professionalism with the media. And so, in preparation for that, I asked everybody to give me 3 names instead of just one, because I knew that it wasn't obvious who was going to win it this year. And 2 interesting things happened. Number 1, believe it or not, we had to have a runoff election because the voting was so close.
Too many good guys.
Too many good guys. And number 2, 1/4 of your roster received votes, which I think says something about the locker room that we put together.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I think I speak for everybody here when I say that, we're appreciative of the players for their cooperation, your coaching staff, yourself, Ann and her staff.
Wow.
And let me not forget to mention the cafeteria staff.
Wow. This is unbelievable. I didn't know. I very much appreciate it on behalf of all people involved, and that's really cool to hear. Yeah, you guys deserve the respect that you're receiving. Trying to do your job.
Now that we said that, who's your quarterback?
It's not me. As of today, Tua has not been cleared by doctors to resume football activities on the field with his teammates. So, because of that and because of the time that he's missed, I can rule him out for Sunday.
Teddy in mind to play this week?
Teddy is still working his way back. His biggest thing is he knew that he had to be in a position where he had to be fully functional on Sunday. That took some strain and really just some guts and work ethic to. That's not an easy thing to do. And as it stands right now, he's working to prepare himself to be capable on Sunday. But as a result of that, he can't afford any setbacks or really anything that's conflicting against the healing process in the week. As a result, we will be approaching the game today, the Wednesday game, as Skylar Thompson as our starting quarterback.
Mike, when you talked to Tua and officially ruled him out, what was his reaction? What was that conversation like?
He's, I would say it's conflicting. He himself is learning that he needs to listen to the advice of doctors and medical professionals. He understands the severity of doing that. So there's a little bit of things that he can't control that, he did not, he was an incredible part of the entire season. I think eight of our wins were as a result of him playing quarterback amongst the team. That did not come because it was just gifted. That was a lot of work and preparation. So it's, very frustrating, much as a lot of things in life and football are. But it's very frustrating for him to not be able to go through everything with his teammates, and really, it was a huge goal of his to help get this team to the playoffs, and he wants to play the playoffs. There's nothing more fun than playoff football, and he really finds normal football fun. So very conflicting, I would say, but understands that it's his best interest that the doctors and medical professionals are seeking, and respects and regards that. So that was about it.
Mike, is he gonna be able to go with you guys to Buffalo?
These are things that I try to take things one day at a time, not to be annoying, but because of just really the procedure that the doctors have kind of shown me. So, I think there's a possibility of that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how he is on Friday and Saturday, and then whether or not it helps, hurts, or is indifferent to him to travel.
Does it help to have some? Go ahead. Have there been any setbacks?
Not really setbacks. It's more just, I'd say, probably compounding variables. I try not to micromanage everything, because I don't find a non-expert to be helpful in micromanaging. I think that would lend one to mismanagement. So, I wouldn't say setbacks as much as just compounding variables and how what needs to happen for the doctors to feel good about it.
Mike, is there any, I guess, relief in knowing to a situation that now you can, make plans, or is it still things kind of muddled because you don't know between the sky and the quarterback position?
I would be a fool to pretend to have a roadmap for anything. I think this season, just in general in football, but this season in particular, if I was feeling comfort in the idea of a exact vision on who was going to play, for instance, I would be ridden with anxiety. We've had injuries. Most teams have injuries. We've dealt with some at positions and with multiplicity. So I don't really look at it like that. I look at all right, this is the hand right now. How do you play that hand? If there are things that go back and forth, you have to just plan for that as well. So I wouldn't say there was any comfort in really any of the news that we're talking about, with exception to the fact that I know we have a dedicated, hungry football team that's excited to play in a game that they earned to play in, and even there's something to be said about the group in the locker room that understands that it's not about woulda, coulda, shoulda. This happened, that happened. I told them today that I think they were one of 5 teams in the history of the National Football League that have lost 5 in a row and made the playoffs. And that is not something that you want on a trophy. You'd prefer not to lose 5 in a row, but I think it also more precisely speaks to the level of determination, the lack of splintering. There's something to be proud of there too, because that is hard to do, clearly, and it's always something to build upon when you're able to do something in the face of whatever that other people can't. So I think they're just excited to play a football game against arguably the best football team in the National Football League, and they get the opportunity to do that on Sunday, and I think that's something that they're really excited for and excited to go play.
Mike, I had a question separate kind of on Daryl Bevell and kind of his role this season. First two-part, I was curious where that relationship kind of stemmed from and led you to bring him to the staff, and how instrumental has he been on working with three quarterbacks, with all the various changes this season.
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely. Bev's been huge for me. Somebody that I met, I think it was one of those deals where, you know how you meet someone and you remember it and they don't, which means it was more memorable for you. All the way back in 2006. I don't know, in Indy at the Combine, at the old Marriott with the, whatever that burger place is, I don't know. But I was down there talking to him, knew of him then, and then had followed his career, had been in the same division as him on occasion, had played against him. And, when I got here, kind of the lay of the land, I'm not sure how long it took me, but I knew that one of the biggest priorities for the organization was to get some leadership in the quarterback room, have a coach who has experience developing younger quarterbacks and has done it on multiple occasions, and also has a disposition that is to be trusted. And you can't find a more trustworthy, honest, loyal human being. He's been huge for that room. It's one of the reasons why there's been really, really strong quarterback play that's come from that room over the course of the season. He great asset. Honestly, just outstanding hire. Come on, guys. He gets my jokes about as well as you guys do, so it's all good.
Mike, during the past month, has any concern been raised about Tua continuing his career? And do all parties, the team, Tua, doctors, expect him to resume playing NFL football at some point?
Well, you're doing your job to ask the question, but come on. I'm just thinking about his day and him getting to full health as a human being, and then when it's time to turn the page, I'll turn the page. But I'm pretty integrity and principle to a fault. So and stubborn as all get out. So if I hear that's the way that I should approach it, I will approach it that way, and I do not deviate. So haven't really. I'm just, the next step is for him to be fully through this protocol, and then we can see where the land lays, so to speak. But outside of that, I'm just worried about him.
Mike, I can see where starting an NFL game for a rookie quarterback can bring out nerves just in the regular season alone. How is Skylar handling the strong possibility that he'll be starting a playoff game for you guys?
Well, I think that I'm not sure if anyone's really understands the gravity of what he was able to accomplish, where he himself had started one game previous and then was injured and was out and then didn't have the routine. He's banking on reps that he's doing individually after practice in the indoor every single day, some scout team reps, and then a bunch of stuff from the preseason. So to jump in with a fully operating machine and to do it I'm very aware of the score, but you're talking about no turnovers, I think 1 sack, and I believe the offense had more yards than this offense had against Buffalo earlier in the season when the team did win. And I believe the Jets, statistically, they're neck and neck, but they're both two great defenses, and I think the Jets might even be ranked third or something. So, like, it was no easy test that if those who are weak would be exposed immediately. I think he'll look at it as probably the way Skylar thinks. He hopes that's the worst game that he ever plays, knowing that, everyone has bad games, but you're trying to build. There's stuff they learn from, some stuff that he did pretty well, some stuff that I know that he can do a lot better, but the mental fortitude, the composure, that's something that's should be praised because it's pretty impressive and not easy to do.
What do you need to see from Teddy for him to play?
Touchdowns. That'd be that's something that it's not just seeing, but it's him communicating, and he's got to be able to rip it in time to be able to get some work with his teammates, and then that's not even really his objective. With this timeline, he's really focusing on being able to come through if needed, because he's real. He knows on the front end he's not going to be able to get that many reps, if any. So it's him building, and bottom line is if we're in a situation on Sunday and we need him to play and he says he can play, my relationship with him and what he's earned, the trust that I have for him, if he says he can roll, he can roll.
Like, how is the Toronto uncertainties?
Progressing. As far as, what does that mean for this season that's been, I was talking to him today. It's very frustrating when you're not physically capable to, play the game you love each and every week and go through that stuff. It's also been very rewarding because he's, out of all the groups on the team, offensive line is probably the greenest, so to speak. So his every time he hasn't been on the field, his impact, he's earned that C on his jersey each and every week, regardless if he's playing or not. Like most weeks, this week is no different. I expect him to be out there if he's capable, and if he's not, he'll make the best decision for the team. That's just kind of how he's built.
How has Mike Glennon picked up this offense since he's been here?
Well, you can tell he's been a very, very convicted, committed player that has experience in multiple systems. You can see it's like talking to someone who is speaking a second language, where you can see them think in their first language. So there's some like he'll process it in terms that he knows it. But consummate pro, has fit right in. Only is value added, and really he elevates the overall really relative height of the whole group, which is cool when you're a short coach.
Mike, you mean that literally? I was about to say, you mean that literally? He elevates the height of the quarterback room.
Still got it.
Mike, knowing the Bills are going to score points regardless of how much confidence you have in your defense, what is a roadmap for you to match points with them, knowing you don't want to put Skylar in a position that's too much for him, but that you sort of have to, match points with the Bills in order to win?
Is that an earpiece from Sean McDermott in your ear right now? Well, I'm glad you asked, Sean. Here's what our plan is. I think if you start thinking like to even consider being able to beat a team as high quality as the Buffalo Bills, I think one mistake is not trusting your teammates in all ways, shapes, and forms. So if you start chasing points, you're probably going to add to that differential. I think you have to worry about, what the defense is going to play, what matchups you can work with, where are you vulnerable, and then how to try to max out whatever the defense is doing. Because typically defenses tend to play to their offenses as well. I don't see Buffalo any different. So I think it's kind of a dangerous game if you try to start chasing points on the road with a juiced-up crowd and a defense that thrives on turnover. So it's a balance. But the bottom line is, if you're trying to compete with a team like that that's earned, their home field advantage in the playoffs, you have to try to compete with them as a team and not phases. Otherwise, you'll end up wishing the existence you're trying to avoid.
I know that was the last question, but is Mostert any update on him since you ruled out two?
Yeah, I couldn't.